Okay.
I just give it one moment. It's still loading up on my end.
Okay.
All right, you are live and all set to go.
Okay. This meeting of the Select Board Interview Subcommittee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and signed into law on July 16th, 2022. All members of the interview subcommittee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the interview subcommittee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Julianne Hirsch.
Here.
And then tonight we have special guest star Jason Perot, who stepped in for me last meeting.
Here.
Thank you, Jason. And I am here, Kristen Wickstead. All right. So I think the first thing we need to do is you two need to what's the word? The meeting minutes.
Approve.
Approve. That's a hard word. Okay, approve the meeting minutes. So.
So I will make a motion that we approve the February 28th, 2023 minutes as written, where Jason Peralt and I were the interview subcommittee.
Second.
Okay. Does everyone approve the minutes? Roll call vote. Julianne?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Okay.
And I believe my work here is done.
Your work here
you,
is
Jason.
done. Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Thanks for waiting. See ya. Okay, so now we go to number 1 on our agenda, which is we'll be interviewing candidates for the Town Administrator Search Committee or Screening Committee. Which is it?
It's both.
It could be either. It's Search/Screening Committee. So we have 4 candidates. And we have 3 spots. They are the residents at large spots. So let's have our first candidate is, hold on, let me just grab the agenda so just get everybody's name right. David Durgan is our first candidate. So I don't seem to have the power of moving people anymore, Diane.
Okay, I'll see if I can let him in.
Yeah, I had the waiting room, but then it disappeared.
Okay, he should be showing up any second.
Great.
So it doesn't look like they're being moved over. I'm sorry, what was the applicant's name?
David Durgan.
Absolutely. So I'm admitting them now.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why you're not able to see the waiting room.
Yeah, I could a few minutes ago and then it disappeared.
Yeah, very odd. So yeah, it says he's joining now, or they are joining now.
Thank you. I'm glad Jim was around. He really saved the day today. he is. Be everybody's Wi-Fi is having issues today. I don't know. Okay. Oh, now I can see the waiting room again, by the way. Okay, Dave Durgan, can you hear us? Can you make yourself visible? And let us know you can hear us. There he is. Okay, just unmute yourself.
What's going on here? All
There
right.
you go. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for your patience.
Not a problem.
There was a big truck that knocked down some wires on Bartlett Street, and
Oh.
I didn't have any Wi-Fi at my house, but I did earlier, so I didn't realize I didn't have it until shortly before the meeting was starting. So I was like rushing over here, and then we had to get this Wi-Fi to work, and it was a whole thing.
Understandable.
But thank you for your patience. We're gonna have to say that to everybody tonight. We really appreciate that, and we also appreciate you applying for this very, very important committee. And it's, it's a big one, I think.
It is.
So Julianne and I have a few questions that we got from suggestions from the two consultants, Bob and Buzz, who are helping us with the town administrator search process. The select board hired them, and they've been great
Understand and
so
met both
far.
of them.
Oh yeah, I hear you were at the senior center that day. Yes, so that's great. So you had a chance to talk to them a little bit already. So Julianne, would you like to get started?
Yes, so hi, Chief. So as Kristen said, we have a series of questions that we're going to ask all of the applicants. And some of them are already answered on your application, but because the viewing public don't get access to your application, I'm sorry that we have to repeat this. So
Not a
the first question is something you did answer, and it is, why are you interested in serving on the town administrator search/screening committee?
Well, as you folks well know, this is a very important position in the town of Northborough. Our charter charges our town administrator with some aspects that a lot of other towns do not. One is complete control of the budget. The second is the appointment of other than 4 positions in the town, and basically serves as your agent in all matters that concern the board. So I see the town administrator's position is vital in coordinating the information that you folks receive in a timely manner and providing both sides or whatever sides of the issue that need to be looked at to the board in the packages that you receive.
Hey,
Okay, thank you. And then a more sort of specific question about the charter. Have you had a chance to review our town charter, and or are you familiar with the duties and responsibilities of the town administrator outlined in our governing document? Now, that's another question that you answered really well on your application, very specifically. And you touched upon it just now, but do you want to add?
No, I am very familiar with the charter, having worked with it for over 17 years. And although I didn't really do anything important, I think it was at least 2 or 3 times during Barry Brenner's administration, I did serve as interim/acting town administrator in his absence.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so on your application, you have, just for anyone watching, well, do you have any ideas or goals for this BCC if you were appointed? Is that the one? You have provide a clear and defined process for the comprehensive review of the candidates with the ultimate goal of providing the best candidates to the assessment center, perform a second interview, independent background and reference check, forward 3 candidates. No, that's not what I was thinking, sorry. Oh, I guess it was. Oh. You know what? In Northborough, the administrator is charged with many unique duties such as budgeting and personnel appointments traditionally performed by the BOS. So I guess that's what I was getting at is personnel appointments. Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. My understanding is other than the fire chief, the police chief, I believe it's the town accountant and one other position that I cannot remember. Every other position in the town, except with the interdepartmental positions in some departments, are filled by the town administrator through that process. And I think that's extremely different than how other towns do it. I know in the past there may or may not have been input about candidates, but ultimately, as with the budget, the administrator receives input and suggestions, but ultimately is charged with independent, and if you really want to technically look at it, no oversight in these appointments and or the budget process. So it's very unique what we have here in Northborough. There are many aspects I really like. I think sometimes when I look at how town government is run, it is an extremely complex process from state laws, budgeting, tax rate, Prop 2.5. And I think Northborough has taken the position where we still have a very active Board of Selectmen. We've understood that there is so much in the day-to-day that the board possibly couldn't understand, even a long tenured member, that they must rely on the input of the administrator so that the board can make sound decisions.
Right, okay. Thanks. Thank you for that. Okay, the next question. So what particular skills or areas of expertise would you bring to this committee during this process to assist in evaluating the skills or lack thereof of any town administrator candidates for Northborough?
I think what I would bring to the table is the fact that I did work in Northborough for 17 years under 2 different administrators. I am familiar with the town charter and the operation of the town, as I expressed to you folks. Outside of that, in a previous fire chief's job, I worked for 4 different town administrators in that town during my tenure there. So I believe I have a good idea of what makes up the skill set and the personality of a good town administrator. And I understand the complex duties. As I said, it's not only budgeting, but it's personnel, it's law, it's procurement. It goes right down the line. If you make a list of what the administrator is charged with, they're overwhelming duties, as is any other department head.
Yeah. So speaking of other department heads, I'm just gonna elaborate on my question with you because I participated in the firefighter interview process a few months ago.
Yes.
And I didn't realize how much personnel management and hiring a fire chief does, and just management in general. So I'm assuming that it was the same when you were the fire chief.
Yes, we ran assessment centers for the captains. We ran a 2-part oral interview with myself, independent fire chief that didn't know the candidate, our medical director, and then a member of the call department, 2 career members with the Board of Selectmen and or town administrator assistant invited to sit in. Additionally, one of the other skills I bring is I have worked in number of communities to help select fire chiefs, deputy fire chiefs, company offices, as well as firefighters. So I have a lot of experience with the background process. I understand the state law, what questions are no-goes, what questions are goes, and basically the process that needs to be run. And I'm sure as the company that we've hired explained to us there, they will educate the members and bring everybody up to date on what the laws are relative to what can and cannot be asked during the interview process.
Right. Yep. Okay, great. All right, Julianne.
So my question is there any possibility that you would have any potential conflicts of interest or ethical issues by involving yourself in the search process? For example, do you have any issues that are going before a board? Do you offhand know some people who are going to apply, anything like that?
I know no one that has applied. I will be retired in 8 years come July 1st, so I don't know who many of the players are anymore. I may hear a name that I know as the search company alluded to. They will do background checks. They will check social media. And in the past, when I have done fire chief interviews, that's one of the things I've gone back and looked at local papers, media, and stuff like that. As far as anything pending before any boards, appeals, building projects, anything that I'm involved with personally and professionally in the town of Northborough, it is nothing. The only possible conflict that I could see, and I don't think we're going to get into this level, is how the insurance works for the retirees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So one more question from Bob and Buzz. They say this committee will have an important role in reviewing candidates and ultimately determine who and how many final candidates will be moved forward to the select board for interviews. Basically, they're saying the time commitment may be 3 to 6 meetings, including semifinal interviews and executive session. Right now, it looks like that will happen from mid-May to mid-June, and will require a personal commitment to set aside 3 to 6 days and nights for mostly in-person sessions. Can you be available during this timeline?
Yes, I do have towards the end of June, I do have a wedding that will take me away for a Thursday through a Sunday out on Nantucket. But other than that, short of any type of a family emergency or unexpected scheduling or something, I should be completely available to participate in the process. And I am right now completely flexible with no commitments to anyone or anything.
And the wedding's in the end of June, you said?
Yeah, I could give you the exact date.
No, we don't need the exact dates.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not like, the first 2 weeks. And then it says there's an executive search and it'll be very important for all members to attend all meetings. So it sounds like that won't be a problem for you.
No.
Especially those semifinal interviews in mid-June. So,
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's the 22nd that I would be going, June 22nd, that I'd be going out to Nantucket for the wedding.
Okay. Well, all right. That's good.
Well, potentially you can also participate via Zoom, so.
Oh, yeah, my wife would love that.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
I know you had to get that one in there.
Yeah, show up with your champagne. Okay.
You have no idea how many birthday parties, nights out, anniversary, and vacations that were either canceled or delayed. So
Because you're
she's not here to hear that.
Right.
Yes, and before you leave, we should thank you for your service to the
Yes.
town.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed being here. I moved to the town in 1998. My kids were educated here. It was a wonderful town to be in. They were involved with Scouts. They were involved with Little League. It was just a great place. It's a great town. It is very special. I didn't think there'd be any place that would be a better or nicer than the town of Hopedale, and Northborough has a lot to offer, and it's a great community.
Yeah. Great.
So
Cool.
Chief, you should so we're gonna interview all the candidates tonight. We'll deliberate, and no appointments will really be made until our May 8th Board of Selectmen meeting.
Understand? Thank you.
Okay, all right.
All right, I tried to stay very brief tonight, not going to a lot of details, realizing that you guys are behind schedule and have a lot of people to talk to. I think there's a lot of I went into a lot of depth in answering the questions, and should there be anything else, I'm always available to answer those questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So, Aaron Hutchins is our second one, right, on the list?
Yeah, so you able to,
I can
Bring
see
him
him
in?
now. Yep.
you
Yeah.
can, all right.
They-
So
they-
try to bring him in if you can.
Yeah. I think I just did. Here he comes.
Yes, you did. Oh, all right.
Okay. Okay. Is he here? Hello, Aaron? Can you hear us? Maybe he's still. Here he comes. Hi, Aaron.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for applying for this committee. It's going to be an important one here in town. To screen and search for the new town administrator.
Mhm.
So we have some questions to ask you that our consultants have recommended. But first, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but thanks for your patience. We know we're getting started very late, but there was with Bartlett Street being closed, that also affected the Wi-Fi in that neighborhood. So I had to come to town hall and then get set up on this Wi-Fi, and it took a while to do that.
Okay.
So anyway, let's get our questions loaded. All right, would you like to go ahead, Julianne?
I would. So good evening, Aaron. We're going to ask some questions that you already answered on your application, but for the viewing public, it's important that they hear your answers also. So the first question is, why are you interested in serving on the town administrator search/screening committee?
I was going to say, do we actually have any viewing public?
Yeah.
You know, surprisingly, people will watch it later, and some people are probably watching it now. So
Yeah, it's streaming on YouTube. So
Well, hello to
undoubtedly we
all
have
of you
some.
who are watching now or later. Why do I want to be on this committee? I'd love to participate on the committee for the sole purpose of ensuring that Northborough's financial planning goes in the right direction in terms of decisions made. I know that a lot of that is done with the other boards, but I think the town administrator drives the agendas for a lot of those boards. And so, I'm concerned as both a citizen and as a former selectman or select board member, I guess now, that the town administrator is somebody who has Northborough's financial interests in mind. So That's my primary reason for wanting to participate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's see. Have you, well, obviously, it says, have you had the opportunity to review our charter? So I'm sure you're familiar with it just because you used to be on the select board. And you're familiar with the duties and responsibilities of the town administrator outlined in the governing document. So, other than this, the finance aspect of the town administrator's duties, would you like to elaborate in other responsibilities?
Well, I mean, honestly, the only other, when I was a member of the select board years ago, the only other thing outside of the financial planning that really came to my attention for the town administrator was the interaction or the oversight on the two chiefs. And I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that it was about the end of my term that I think the board transferred oversight of the two chiefs to John. I'm not sure if that's still maintained today or if that has gone back to the board, but that was the other major piece, aside from the financial planning, that I was particularly concerned of relative to the town administrator. So if the town administrator still has oversight of the two chiefs, then obviously we want to make sure that there's a good relationship there with the two chiefs, and that the town administrator and the two chiefs have a positive working relationship one with another because, well, for obvious reasons, that's our safety.
Okay,
So yeah, those were the two main concerns that I had relative to the town administrator, were the financial decisions or planning that individual would oversee, and then how he would interact with the two bodies that are managing the peace in this town and safety.
the safety, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what particular skills or areas of expertise can you bring to the committee during this process to insist in evaluating the skills or lack thereof of the town administrator candidates for Northborough?
Well, I'm a practicing attorney, 15 years, so I certainly have a legal a viewpoint on things that maybe others don't necessarily have right away.
What kind of attorney are you?
Hopefully a good one.
Yeah.
I practice mainly in the areas of family and criminal law, although I do have enough experience in the civil arena as well, with contracts and
Okay.
civil disputes. But that's 15 years of that kind of legal practice. So I have that. My father, I don't know if you know or not, but my father was the chief here in town for 23 years, I think. So, I mean, I was raised understanding his attendance at Board of Selectmen meetings and, talking about budgets and interacting with town administrators. I mean, that was kitchen table conversations for me when I was growing up. So I certainly have a view towards how the police are interacting with town government that maybe others don't. Maybe they don't have that viewpoint.
Mhm.
But other than that, I am certainly not, I'm probably not as qualified in the financial areas, which I mentioned are of importance to me in terms of financial planning. I'm sure there are others who bring a stronger resume
Mhm.
to the table, but I certainly understand enough of what's going on and, the obligations that are imposed upon the state or the town by the state. Like
Right.
OPEB.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand these things, and the town has a number of decisions to make concerning White Cliffs, concerning the use of its municipal buildings or the repurposement of them. So there are enough I guess I'll call them hot topics that make me just want to make sure that the next town administrator is going to lead us down the right road.
Yeah, we do have a lot. You're right. We definitely have a lot of hot topics
Mhm.
coming up. Okay, Julianne.
Aaron, so the next question is there any possibility that you have a potential conflict of interest or ethical issue by involving yourself in this search process?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So the committee will have an important role in reviewing candidates, and ultimately have a lot to say about determining who will be moved forward to the select board for final interviews. So it may require 3 to 6 meetings, including semi-final interviews, which would be an executive session. Right now, it looks like we'll be very busy, or this committee will be very busy from mid-May to mid-June, and would require a personal commitment to set aside 3 to 6 days and nights for mostly in-person sessions. It's an executive search, and it'll be very important for all members to attend all meetings, but most importantly, those semi-final interviews in the mid-June timeframe. Does that work with your schedule? That sort of
Yeah.
time commitment?
I don't have any conflicts there. I'd also point out, now that you're talking about these interviews, it jars my memory. I don't know if I put this down or not, but just for the sake of information for you or for whoever's watching this, I did participate as a volunteer on 2 principal search committees for the local schools.
You did
So
put that down. Yeah,
I am very familiar with the process and vetting candidates, interviewing them, et cetera.
yeah,
And the number of meetings that are required to go through that process. So,
right. Yeah, you did mention that. That was definitely relevant. I remember seeing it. So, yeah, okay. Do you have any questions for us?
how many candidates are there
There are 4 of
for how
you,
many spots?
3.
Well,
And you're the second interview, and we, I don't know, the last committee that you were appointed to was appointed by the town administrator, and the select board votes on it, but we didn't interview you. So this committee, Julian and I do the interviews, and then we may vote to make recommendations, but the vote doesn't happen until the next select board meeting on Monday night. And we will be, I'm pretty sure that's anticipated to be on the agenda on Monday, this coming Monday, the 8th. Okay. I think you're a little glitchy there. Can you say that again? Hello? I think he's frozen. I can kind of hear you saying something, but your face is frozen and your voice is
can you hear me okay?
there. Now I can.
Okay. I was just going to say very quickly, I've regularly participated as a volunteer on town boards over the years. So, whether I'm selected for this or not, I'm happy to serve. If others want an opportunity and you feel like they'd be better suited for this particular committee, I don't have any issue. But I'm again very interested, active participant, and happy to serve. So
Yeah, I appreciate that, especially since you were just appointed to another committee. It's nice when people are willing to jump right in and help wherever they can. So I do appreciate that.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Aaron. All right, I'm just gonna shut the door before, or maybe while we admit Scott, because there's just a few conversations. I'm used to having a silent office, not used to being at the party town hall. Here we go. Hi, Scott. You're muted. Well, it says you're unmuted, but I still don't hear you. There.
Is that better?
Yeah, now I hear you. Yep.
Okay. Hello, how are you both?
Hello. Thank you for your patience. As I've been telling everybody
Yeah.
else, a little bit of drama on my street today with our road was closed because some wires were torn down by a truck, and we ended up
I heard that.
without internet, so I'm at town hall, and it just
Oh,
took a
okay.
while to get all that set up.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. No
Yep.
worries. No worries. Well, thanks
So-
for doing the interviews. I actually wasn't aware when I sent in my application for this that it included an interview, but happy to talk to you both anyway.
Yeah, fun. I know, I was actually surprised that we were interviewing for this too. I don't know why, because I'm on the interview committee and I do a lot of interviews,
Right.
but I guess I didn't know that this would be that kind of committee, but anyway, so we did ask our consultants, Bob and Buzz, to give us some questions. So
Okay.
we don't usually interview for committees that are anything like this one, so
For interviewing. I get
yeah,
it.
so they got us going. Yes. So anyway, so Julianne is going to start us off.
Yes, so we did talk to the consultants because we want to make sure we do a good job.
Okay.
And Scott, so my first question, you actually answered on your application, but for the people watching, I'm going to ask it again. Why are you interested in serving on the Town Administrator Search Committee?
Yeah, so I think, you know, for me, I recognize that this is a really huge opportunity for the town. I mean, this is the first time in 20 years that we've been in a position where we're interviewing for a town administrator. I know that there are a number of, you know, challenges or issues that the town is facing. I mean, I'll mention a couple of them. I know that the downtown revitalization project has been out there for a while. I know we're making decisions on what to do with White Cliffs, the fire station, the location of town hall, and certainly, you know, SA Farm, which is in my backyard. I think are all things that, you know, are facing the town and something that the new administrator will be forced to deal with. And I also think it's a real opportunity for us to change the trajectory of Northborough that will impact us one way or another for the foreseeable future. So to me, as a resident, you know, look, I haven't been involved in town government before, so I don't really bring that lens to it, but I would definitely be very interested in helping out and participating and asking questions about, you know, these candidates, the potential candidates' experience in dealing with issues like this. And I think as a result of that, it'll put us in a position to really select the best candidate. So.
Yeah, that just reminds me. So in your application or on your resume, let's see, I'm going to look you up. You said, yes, you said there are many decisions in front of us as a town, such as taxes, White Cliffs, infrastructure, fire station, town improvement plan, and I would like to hear how the candidates have addressed issues like these and the successes and learnings from it. So I assume you mean have addressed issues like these at previous jobs. Yeah.
Correct.
And
And,
that,
and if they haven't, maybe how they would approach it.
yes. Yeah. So I thought that was nicely put. It gave me a sense of, you seem to understand the what the committee will be doing very well. So, oh, and you were, you know what? I'm going to wait and ask that question in a minute, but I have another question now. Okay. Have you
Okay.
had the opportunity to review our charter, and are you familiar with the duties and responsibilities of the town administrator outlined in our governing document?
So I would say at a very high level, right? I mean, I know that the town administrator really reports to the select board and maybe the chairman of the select board itself. But I also know that they're instrumental in many of the things that go on in the town, you know, whether it's setting policy on different things. Obviously, they have a number of people that they're going to be responsible for hiring on their team. So while I would say that I haven't really delved into the charter, I've got an appreciation for the work that they do, the responsibilities that they have, and the impact, quite frankly, that they can have on the town and therefore the residents living here.
Okay. Okay, great, thanks. And then what particular skills or areas of expertise can you bring to this committee during this process to assist in evaluating the skills or lack thereof of the town administrator candidates for Northborough?
I think really just an additional member of the committee. I mean, I probably have some questions that I would ask that are unique. I do interview people at work. It's not really part of my job, but it is one of the things that I do. So actually last week I had 6 interviews for a colleague position at Schwab. And I tend to ask really more experience-based questions. So, you know, give me an example of how you've done this, or how would you approach this type of a situation? So I think really just making sure and rounding out the candidate questions and the view that we really get into the candidate. I know many of the folks probably have more town government experience than I do. And so those questions, everybody's going to approach it in a slightly different way. And like I said, I think many of the things that we've got in front of us, it's a unique opportunity for us to you know, to bring a leader into the town. And I think we can, you know, we've got a great opportunity, I think, to really get it right and have a very positive impact on the future of the town and get some of these things moving that may not have really garnered a lot of traction recently, right? I mean, we've all been in town, I think, well, I don't know how long you've lived here, but Joanne and I have lived here for 24 years, and we've been hearing about the downtown revitalization since we got here.
Mm.
And now almost an entire generation has gone by and really not much has happened. So I think an opportunity to really move some of those things forward. And I think, you know, honestly, if you were to ask a lot of people in the town, I think there is a sense that we're falling a little bit behind some of our neighboring towns. You know, you look at what's gone on over in Hudson, and they've done an amazing job with their downtown. And I would say that many people that we know, ourselves included, when you want to go out to dinner and walk around someplace, we go to Hudson many times over places in Northborough. And that's, you know, that's a shame. And so it's an example to me of, you know, the leadership, I think, by their town administrator. Unfortunately, I think he just retired. I don't think he's interested in doing anything new, but it illustrates really the impact that a town administrator can have with a vision for the town and really what it could be. And so I'm excited about talking to some new people and finding out really what they've done in their previous roles in the towns that they worked in, and really how they would approach and tackle and move forward on some of these decisions and choices that we're going to be making.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you. Julianne?
You're welcome.
Well, before I ask my question, can I ask a follow-up question on your particular skills? So your background seems to be in finance. Is it the kind of finance that might have some applicability as you're talking to potential candidates about their their experience in municipal finance?
I would say probably not specifically. I mean, I do have a master's degree in finance. And I actually have, I am a level 2 candidate for the Chartered Financial Analyst designation. So I've got a decent background in accounting, finance, not so much in municipal finance. What I really do, Julianne, is I work in retirement plans. So I work at Schwab with 401k and pension clients and clients that have equity compensation plans with Schwab. So my background and experience is more on the investment and the retirement plan space, more so than specifically on municipal finance. But I know enough about it. Like when we talk about, you know, I know there were a couple of comments that were made at the meeting about bond ratings and things like that. So I do know what goes into those and how the town's financial structure, the amount of debt that we have. I know that how that plays out and impacts the bond rating that we would get. And so from that perspective, maybe I can ask a couple of questions, but I think I would defer those more towards people that are currently in town government, more such as, you know, you and Kristen.
Okay,
And
so that's really funny because you just said a bunch of things that make it very clear that you know a lot more about finance than I do. And I'm not going to be on this committee anyway.
Okay.
I
Well,
already
listen.
that ship. So, but no, just the idea that you said the bound ratings and how debt and how it plays out and how it affects bond ratings, like, great. Those are pretty basic things. And it sounds like you probably also know your way around a spreadsheet pretty well.
I do. And, you know, it was interesting. I know at, you know, town meeting, you know, there were two things that were happening. On one level, someone made the comment that we needed to have X number of dollars in cash in an emergency fund to improve our bond rating, which is probably true. But then on the same token, like 25 minutes later, we were talking about borrowing a lot of extra money to finance vehicles. And particularly in this environment where interest rates have tripled over the last year, you know, I feel like those two things, while in one hand we're being told that we need to vote for this because it's going to improve our bond rating, nobody talks about the bond rating when you're being asked to vote on and approve the next thing coming. So to me, it was a little bit of a mixed message. But I do, you know, I do understand how those things, how they work. And, you know, listen, if people, I don't know how the interviews are structured, whether people have certain guidelines in terms of where their questions are supposed to come from. But I think if people, you know, if I don't know, if I'm fortunate enough to be included in the committee and nobody else has any greater experience in finance, I can probably ask a couple of intelligent sounding questions.
Yeah, we do have someone from the Appropriations Committee who's going to be on the search committee also. But it is nice to have more than one person who kind of understands basic finance.
Sure.
And I think Mitch also understands quite a bit, and he'll be on the search committee. So
Okay.
it's not a huge issue that you personally need to worry about too much, but I do feel like you answered that question really well. So I don't know. Just don't beat yourself up. I think you probably know more than a lot of people.
Well, that could be true, but my background really is in retirement plans. So I work with Schwab clients primarily on plan design, and I also interface with our consultant partners on plan design issues as well. So if you had a organization that had a you know, a defined contribution plan or a defined benefit plan and needed some guidance on how to make it better, I could do that. But
Great. All right. Wait, so Julianne, you're next.
I
right?
have question number 4, but also I'd like to point out that the interviews are going to be very guided by our consultants.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
so your skills in kind of, reading people and posing questions certain ways is something that could benefit if you are approved to be on this committee. But anyway, question number 4 is, do you have any potential conflicts of interest or ethical issues by involving yourself in this search process?
I can't imagine that I do.
Okay, good.
I mean, I'm not on any other committees in town. I don't have any business in town.
You don't
Or-
know anyone who might apply. That's kind of what that's about.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
I can't imagine that I do.
You're not in
I
this
don't.
very much, yeah.
No. And if it came out that I did by chance happen to know somebody, I would certainly let you guys know, or let the committee know, and maybe I just wouldn't
Recuse
have.
yourself. Yeah, if it popped
Yeah.
up. Yeah, just
If it did.
you don't know someone for sure. So yeah, okay.
No, and like I said, like I don't have any, neither Joanne or I have any business in town. So there's really, nor does we have any business that would really benefit from name recognition. I know sometimes people get involved in some of these things because they want to get their name out there, and that's not the case for us. I mean, it's purely just volunteering and offering to help out, because I know that it's an important decision, and it's one that is going to put the stamp on this town and really where we go for the next 5 to 10 years, most likely.
Yes, no, you're right. It's a very important job. So the last question concerns scheduling. This committee will have a very important role reviewing candidates and determining who will move forward to the select board for interviews as we work in conjunction with the consultants. The time commitment for the committee may require 3 to 6 meetings, including semi-final interviews in
Okay.
session. That the time frame for that should be mid-May to mid-June, and 3 to 6 days or nights for mostly in-person sessions. Are you around for all of that?
I am. I don't have any scheduled vacation until July.
Right. So mid-June. If the semi-final interviews happen in mid-June, you're here.
I am, and I would also say too that I work from home at this point, so I'm here in Northborough every day. I have an office in Boston, but I'm not required to go there, and so I'm not going to be commuting from anywhere except Patrick Drive. So even on relatively short notice, I can get to town hall or wherever the interviews are going to happen. So
I
absolutely.
would think probably town hall, but you never know.
Okay.
Okay, great. So that was the end.
Okay.
That was it. Thank you so much for throwing your proverbial hat in the ring and volunteering for town committee.
Okay.
And we deliberate after this,
Oh, yeah.
Scott, and then it goes before the whole board on Monday, May 8th.
So nothing official until Monday night select board meeting.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Sounds good. Well, if I can answer any other questions, please let me know.
You will.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your consideration. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right,
Do we admit Miriam?
yep, can you do it? Or you want me to? I can do it.
Just
Oh, you
did
got it? Okay. All right.
2 nights in a row hanging out with Miriam.
That's
I
great.
went to the DEIB meeting last night.
Hi, everyone.
Friend.
Hi.
I was just saying 2 nights in a row with
I
Mary.
know.
Sorry we're so late tonight. They closed Bartlett Street. I don't know if you realize that, but because a truck hit some wires,
Oh no.
telephone pole, so all day long the road was closed, but ultimately it turned out that some of the wires must have had some of the Wi-Fi for my house, because I
Oh,
didn't have
no.
Wi-Fi this evening when I was trying to log on for the meeting. I did earlier in the day, but then this evening I didn't. So very strange. So we got a very late start, and we appreciate everyone's patience.
Yeah, no problem at all. I was on my computer anyways doing work, so wasn't a problem for me.
Good, great, good. Is it, are you graduating this year?
I am. It's actually my last week of undergrad, so I am just like at the peak of so
Crazy.
many things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for volunteering for this committee. That was really helpful. Yeah, I saw on your resume, it looked like you're finishing in May. So are you finishing in 3 years, or has it been 4 years?
No, it's been 4 years.
How is that possible?
I know. Where did the time go?
Right? Oh my goodness. That is so weird. Well, congratulations.
Thank
A
you.
week ahead of time. I'm assuming that you will finish up with flying colors. Okay. So should we Julianne has the first question.
I do. So Miriam,
Study break for you. A few unassuming questions.
could you please tell us why you are interested in serving on the town administrator search or screening committee? We're calling it either or.
Sure. So I currently serve as the chair of the DEIB committee, which is the Diversity, Inclusion, Equity, and Belonging Committee. I've served on it since its creation, and while it was a temporary committee in the past few years, and it's really been something that's been really special to me and close to me. As a young and Muslim woman who's grown up here and graduated from ARHS, it's been really important for me to really not just participate in our town, but participate in a meaningful way. And having participated in the efforts for DEI in our town, I really, when I saw that, we were in search for a new town administrator, I really wanted to bring forth the work and center DEI in this search for a new town administrator. I wanted to bring the voices of the work that we've done to the DEI committee. So I look forward to the search for the town administrator, and I hope that DEI is really centered in that search.
Right. Okay. So as far as our charter, our town charter goes, are you familiar with the duties and responsibilities of the town administrator?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. So you'd be comfortable with this being on the selection committee?
Yes.
And we also, as Julianne told one of the other candidates, our consultants, Bob and Buzz, who helped us write these questions, or basically wrote these questions for us, they will also be very instrumental in this committee and really guide the committee, and will help with a lot of things. So we do want people with different backgrounds, different types of information and expertise that they can, and perspectives that they can bring to the committee. So anything, I don't know, I'm not too worried about that. And then, okay, so you sort of already answered this. What particular skills or areas of expertise can you bring to the committee to assist in evaluating the skills or lack thereof of town administrator candidates for Northborough? Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. I guess I can talk about, my participation in town and my advocacy that has been prevalent through my time at Algonquin and into graduating college as well, I've continuously been an advocate for social justice, and I have participated in many campaigns for public office, including my own when I ran for school committee. So I definitely bring a bank of knowledge, as I've participated so much in town and been aware of, kind of what's going on with all the committees, and yeah, and I kind of talked about, being a part of the DEIB committee as well in my work there.
Yeah. One thing that when I was writing down some of the things on everybody's resumes and letters that stood out to me with you, I wrote down that you're basically Gen Z, right? So I think that's a perspective that in this case you haven't mentioned, but it's important in a hiring process for a person who's going to have to interact with every level of people in our town. And I do think that's something else you bring.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think I would say a lot of people my age in Gen Z would not necessarily think that being a part of selecting the new town administrator and the hiring process would be something that, they would be interested in, or would even think that that's something that's going on. So yeah, I'm really excited to, if I'm selected, to bring that perspective as a young person in town who will be the next generation to kind of bring and move the town into moving forward.
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people your age, my children excluded, don't even know what a town administrator is.
Absolutely.
The term Nepo baby. I'm just gonna throw in an anecdote here. I know Miriam does, but Julianne, it's like nepotism, right? So my Nepo baby is sort of a term that kids now use to describe nepotism, and it tends to refer to people who are famous. So, and their kids get roles in TV shows or on movies because they're Nepo babies, right? So one of my daughters said after town meeting, she said, being a Nepo baby in Northborough just means you have to go to town meetings. Which I thought was pretty funny because it's true.
It's true.
Well, that actually might be a lead in to the next question, which is,
Yes.
Are you a Nepo baby? Do you have any potential conflicts of interest?
I do
or
not.
ethical issues?
I should not, and I do not believe that I do. I'm just part of
You know anybody who's thinking of applying or
no. No connections to anybody who's a town administrator.
right in another
No
town.
Nepo anything.
No
Yeah.
Nepo anything.
But can I go back, Miriam, because I think that you had something else interesting on your application. You've done
Sure.
some work for legislators on Beacon Hill, correct?
Yes.
And did any of those involve like working in groups like this will involve, or kind of not necessarily formal interviews, but interviewing people? Is there anything from those experiences that you could bring to this committee?
I don't think I had specific experience interviewing, but I did have a lot of experience, and in the past work experience that I had, and also the fellowship that I'm doing right now, working in groups and working amongst other people who bring other skills. So I think that's definitely something that can be carried into, working with the other people who will be part of this committee and selecting a town administrator, certainly looking at what everybody else brings to the table and kind of bringing together what our thoughts are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So the last question is about schedule. The committee will have an important role in reviewing candidates and ultimately determine who and how many final candidates will be moved forward to the select board for interviews. As we work in conjunction with Bob and Buzz, The time commitment for this committee may be 3 to 6 meetings, including the semifinal interviews, which would be in executive session, which means top secret, which I'm sure you know, but I like to say that anyway. It appears, according to our schedule, that from mid-May to mid-June, that will require a personal commitment to set aside 3 to 6 days and nights for mostly in-person sessions. Can you be available during that timeline?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. It also says it's very important for all members to attend all meetings, but most importantly, the semifinal interviews in the mid-June timeframe. So just keep that in mind. So
Okay.
it's good to know. Yeah.
Yes, that is.
Okay, good. Excellent. I do enjoy a good executive session, and I always like on my Facebook that I can't tell you about it because
In executive session.
so yeah, okay, great. Well, we won't keep you anymore because I'm sure you have lots of finals to study for. Julian and I will discuss for a little while. We'll make some recommendations, but we won't vote on this until Monday, the 8th at our
Sounds
select meeting.
Wonderful.
Do you have any other questions or anything?
No, I think you guys answered most of my questions about time commitment and anything else that it would involve. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you know how to reach us, and if anything comes up, and vice versa. And good luck with finals.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Right.
And
All right.
congratulations on graduating.
Thank you so much, Julian. All right. It was great to see you both.
Thanks for volunteering again.
Of
Likewise.
course. See you.
Bye, Miriam. Okay. All right. We got that done. 4 interviews, good interviews. Great.
I would say so.
Very nice of everybody to volunteer. And I talked to a couple of people who were interested in volunteering, and the last day they accepted applications was right around town meeting, and I think a lot of people just didn't realize it wasn't a very big window. So we're lucky we got the people that we did, I think, because they're all 4 are good options.
Mhm.
So so do we call him Chief Durgan? Even though
I
he's
think once a chief, always a chief.
okay. So we can just call him the chief. He's the only chief in the group.
Yeah.
So one thing I didn't quite have my act together when we were interviewing him as much, because it was just at the beginning and I was still sort of flustered because I really didn't expect my internet to not be working. So he it says on his resume he was the chief in 2 different towns, but he was also the EMS coordinator at UMass Memorial for a couple of years. So we didn't ask him to talk about that, but that's another leadership position where you were probably doing a lot of interviews. And I don't know, I mean, I know being a fire chief probably prepares you for lots of different things, but it is definitely a job that involves a lot of interviewing, a lot of, selecting and narrowing down pools of candidates and talking to people. And one other thing I learned from my fire department interviews was the people that we interviewed, the best way to describe what they liked was whether or not they could picture somebody getting along with the guys, because right now it's all men, but just getting along with the group, right? It's very important. And I think the chief has to have, I know Chief Parenti, actually, when I was talking to him, he definitely has to have a very intuitive sense of who's going to get along, who's going to keep his, it's, because the paramedic work and the firefighting work they do is very much teamwork oriented, right? So I would say a fire chief, of someone with fire chief experience and EMS experience, coordinator experience, would have to have a lot of kind of that intuition of this person is going to be able to relate to, because as Bob and Buzz told us, we have to choose someone who has a lot, who's moving into a great town, a great place to work, and going to be working with a really great staff. The people in town hall staff, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, those are things that I liked about the chiefs.
So I think also the fact that that Chief Durgan was an employee of the town brings a very important, unique perspective. Your comment about working with groups and interviewing skills, that's for sure. But also, he also talked a lot in his application. He said he wants a clear and defined process for the comprehensive review of the candidates. So I think this is his, his experience at interviewing for people in his department. And also he talked about how important the job is to all the future things going on in the town. So, he's obviously very familiar with the charter. Yeah, he's an excellent candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had never met him before, or if I had, it was a long time ago, so I didn't remember him. And so that was, well, you know me, I just like meeting new people. It's my favorite thing about the interview committee. Totally irrelevant, but
No,
hey.
it's really amazing the talent that we have coming before us. I'm humbled.
Right? I know. So, and then Erin Hutchins is a good egg for volunteering for another committee. I don't know when that town hall committee is going to get going. The Town Hall Feasibility Study Committee. What a terrible name. But it's probably not going to be a while because or it probably will be a while. I don't know. I don't know if it's something the interim town administrator will be working on or not. But anyway.
That committee might actually get going fairly soon, and
really?
that is one of my concerns, is that's it's a finite amount of time that those people will put in, but it's going to be intense, just like this one. And I'm a little concerned that that is a lot for one candidate. And Aaron having his legal background is very helpful, but but one thing did stand out to me, and is that he looks at the financial planning role of the town administrator as paramount. And I think that there are a lot more aspects of the town administrator, especially given where we are in this town and all the things before us, that financial planning is, of course, the base, but there's so many more things that we're going to need to address with the next town administrator. So that was a little bit of a red flag for me. I don't know if it was for you.
Well, the thing that I thought was kind of odd was that he said that finance was very important to him. He said it a number of times. He said it a couple of times on his application. And then when I asked the expertise question, he said he's not really qualified in the area of finance. So it's really important to him, and he wants to make sure we have a town administrator who is really financially or fiscally conservative and responsible. But I don't know, he would be the best person. He made it sound like he wouldn't be the best person to choose that person, you know?
Mhm.
That's why that was a little bit strange for me. Like if he was a town accountant in another town, I would have said, absolutely, let's take you on. So yeah, that was I mean, we don't, none of the other people have a legal background. So that's something, but,
Mhm.
okay, let's talk about Scott for a minute. So he did seem to really understand and, well, embrace the idea of that the issues town is facing are many and diverse, you know, everything from White Cliffs to SA Farm to downtown, to finance, right?
Right. Yeah, I liked that he used the word future a lot, and that's important to me. It's
Right, and the personnel part of it. Again,
mhm.
you know, I keep coming back to this, like I said about the chief, but he does. It sounds like he's very comfortable doing interviews. He just did several of them recently, and that is something that Bob told me a couple of times that will be very helpful to have people who have experience with personnel in interviewing. And I don't know that the people who are representing the 4 boards and committees that are definitely already on have a ton of experience with. I think Mitch might a little bit, but I don't know that the other ones do. So I think people who are comfortable in that role is also important. And the way he answered the finance question, your finance question was, like I said, I feel like if he would like to get more familiar with the financial aspects of what the town administrator does, it would probably take him a short amount of time to do some research to really understand it at a much higher level than somebody with no experience. I think
Yeah,
he's, you know, he might not
definitely.
exactly, but he's on level 3 already, on his way to level 5, and I'm down at level 1, so
Mhm.
that would be good. Yeah. Okay. All right, and then Miriam, Miriam checks the big box for me of someone with the perspective of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I brought up that she's from this younger generation also, because I think she put it really nicely how, the future, this person, it would be nice to have somebody who can relate to younger people and understand that you are putting the town in a place where it will be ready for these people of the future, and the people who are young now, and all these people who don't even know what a town administrator is right now, but you'll be working for them just as much as you're working for those of us who are doing interviews and things. So and actually, for someone her age, she is extremely comfortable working with town staff, committee members, people who are much older than she is. It doesn't seem to faze her at all. And I have kids her age, roughly, and they do not have that same grace all the time. They're fine with it in small doses, but she seems like she's just probably comfortable with lots of different kinds of people. So
Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, but on her application, I think she said she's a political science major. Right?
I think so. Yeah.
which could be very beneficial. And she's, maybe she had, well, she understands town government because she's run for office, but she also, understands state government because she's done a lot of work there. So,
Yep.
and I agree with you. She's a very mature, approachable kind of person too. And that perspective of a very young person that, we keep talking about where's the town going? It's the future. So we need to hear from that
Yeah.
demographic.
And also the demographic of being the DEI
Mhm.
chair and being a Muslim woman. I think all those things are definitely relevant. So, yeah. Okay. So should we haven't done this in a long time, Julianne. I haven't been at an interview meeting in a long time. Do we vote to recommend people, or do we just talk?
So I think you and I should talk about our top 3 choices, and then we have to do the motion. I move that we recommend so-and-so.
Okay. So I would say my top 3 choices then are Miriam, Scott, and the chief.
I have to agree with you. But I do want to say that one of the reasons the primary reason that I'm worried about Aaron Hutchins is the conflict with the Town Hall Feasibility Committee. I do think that they're going to be simultaneously revving up, and also, yeah. I mean, his legal experience could be really important, but I don't think we're going to have legal issues with this. And Bob and Buzz can handle that if anything arises. So I also would have suggested the chief, Scott Stockland, and Miriam. So would you like me to make a recommendation?
A motion?
A motion, right.
Yes.
So let's, just for technical reasons, do it one by one. So I move that the interview subcommittee recommend David Durgan to the select board for a position on the search / screening committee for town administrator.
Second. So roll call vote. Julianne?
Aye.
And I can vote aye. The motion passes.
Okay, second motion. I recommend, I move that we recommend Scott Stockland for the resident position on the search / screening committee for town administrator.
Second. Roll call vote. Julianne?
Aye.
And I, Kristen, vote aye. So Scott Stockland is also recommended.
And I move that we recommend Miriam Ibrahimi for the search / screening committee for the town administrator.
Second. Roll call vote. Julianne?
Aye.
And I, Kristen, vote aye. So we have Miriam Ibrahimi is also recommended for one of the 3. So the 3 at-large positions.
Right, the 3 resident
We have
positions.
And we had 4 excellent candidates.
4 excellent candidates, and we thank everyone. And again, it's so hard, but considering all the different perspectives we have, I think our recommendations are okay. I just want to go back to the beginning of the meeting. We did not approve the minutes for December 13th.
Okay, and I can do that.
So can I make a
Thank you.
motion that we approve the minutes of December 13th, 2022 as presented to us.
Second. Roll call vote, Julianne,
Aye.
and I, Kristen, vote aye. The minutes are approved. Good. Is
Thank
that
you.
it, Di?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good
And thanks
job.
to Jim.
Yes, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim, for helping.
Absolutely. Glad we got it going.
Yeah, that was good. All right, take care, everyone.
All right.
Sorry, do you need to make a
adjourn.
motion? Yeah.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, Julianne,
Aye.
and I, Kristen, vote aye. The meeting is adjourned.